Hello guys, Matt's Play here. Sorry I kept you all waiting, but my Prishe breakdown is finally here. Prishe was my main in Dissidia 012, and she became one of my favourite Final Fantasy characters just because of how fun it was to play with her. So I'm quite excited that she's coming to Omnia Global. I've been playing with her in JP, and she's one of my most used characters. I really like using Prishe, and I can't wait for her to drop in Global as well. And I'm praying to you, RNG, or God, or whatever deity controls this. Please give us her CP35. But without that out the way, let's get into the breakdown. So let's talk about how Prishe operates in battle. So the way Prishe is in Dissidia is that she is a really good brave attacker. She has a wide range of elemental attacks, and she can attack AoE as well, which gets her a really versatile skill set. Her command abilities, the whole gimmick around them is that you use it once, and then it transforms both abilities into something different, and that altered ability has an element attached to it, and is generally more powerful. Then after you use that, it reverts back to the previous forms of both abilities, and you're supposed to use this in a kind of cycle to break HP attack, use the skills, and then do all sorts of damage and break enemies quite easily. So her two attacks are One Ilm Punch and Spinning Blow. Now, One Ilm Punch is a 5-hit non-elemental brave attack, and when you do use it, it transforms it into Howling Fist Transfixion and Spin Attack into Backhand Blow. So we're going to show that now. There you go. So as you guys can see, both abilities have been transformed. One thing to do note about Prishe is that her abilities, even though they change into different attacks, the usage remains the same. So you can only use it a certain amount of times, even if you think, oh no, I'm using a different attack. Nope. Still same ability usage, so be careful. So as you guys can see, the two attacks have changed. I'm going to show off them as quickly as I can. So the top one is Howling Fist Transfixion, which is a 2-hit physical light elemental brave attack. And when you do use it, it changes both abilities back to their original state, but grants Prishe a medium critical rate up bonus for 2 turns. So we're going to use this here. Okay, now we're going to use One Ilm Punch again. As you guys can see, going down to 4. And now we're going to use Backhand Blow. So Backhand Blow, Detonation is a 2-hit physical wind elemental ability, and no other effects other than that, really. Oh, ouch. Okay, now we're going to use Spin Attack. Spin Attack is a 1-hit AoE brave physical attack. And when you do use it, it changes itself into Backhand Blow Detonation and One Ilm Punch into Howling Fist Fusion. Now, Howling Fist Fusion is a 2-hit fire and with holy physical brave attack, and no effects other than that. Okay, then backhand. So that's pretty much Prishe's attacks. What you want to do with these is that you want to hit the element that an enemy is weak to in order to deal lots of damage, have your brave skyrocket, and then go for the HP attack as well. That's about it, really. I'll be doing a quick little summary of Prishe as well, so don't worry. And then after that, we'll move on to our passive list. So let's do a quick summary of Prishe. So Prishe uses fire, wind, and holy elements, which is 3 very common weaknesses. A lot of flying enemies tend to be weak against wind. A lot of ground enemies are surprisingly weak against fire too. And evilish enemies like fiends and all that stuff, they always tend to be weak against holy. So that means that she hits 3 very common weaknesses, which makes her very good at that. all part of a gimmick, and that means that you'll be able to hit a lot of enemies' weaknesses, which makes Prishe a viable character in a lot of battles. Also, she can hit both single targets and go AoE as well. Thanks to her variation, she can hit multiple enemies at once if the situation calls for it, or if not, focus on one enemy. So the choice is entirely up to you, and that's what is a really good thing about Prishe. You get the options. Also, she's quite a fast character, so we'll be going through her passive list, but her passive lists really are about making her speedy, going for your hit, and then going for the attack afterwards, and that makes her combo really, really well with Shiva. We'll go into her passive list later on, but that makes Prishe really good in that remark. Now, let's talk about what's not so great about Prishe. So, unfortunately, because of how Prishe operates, she ends up using up a lot of turns. Now, being able to beat a boss is one thing, but your score is important because you want to get the conditions and all the goodies if there's a score attached to it. So you have to be very careful with Prishe. Because she ends up using up a lot of turns, because she needs to use a haste skill, then have a HP attack or another skill, that means that your turn usage can go up really high if you're not careful. So you have to be very, very thoughtful of how you use Prishe. I know it's quite exciting seeing high damage and her animations, which are pretty cool, I have to say. But you have to be very careful in that regard. Also, because of her ability usage still retaining the usage numbers after switching, that means that your abilities can go quite quickly if you're not careful. So, although she's quite good and deals lots of damage, you can't just spam her willy-nilly. You have to be very careful with how you're using your abilities, because you can run out before you know it, and then you're like, oh no, what am I going to do now? That's pretty much it for Prishe though. Despite these cons, she's still a very good character to use, especially at this point in the game, and, you know, there's not going to be another character like her for quite some time, so she's probably one of the best elemental attackers that we have right now. But that's just my opinion. Next on, we'll go on to her passive list. Just want to give a shout out to the guys at Dissidia DB. The hard work is always appreciated, and I want to offer my thanks for being allowed to use the site to go through the passive list. We'll be having a link in the description, so give the site a check, keep it in your favorites. It's a fantastic site to use, and it caters to both the global and the JP players as well, making our lives a lot easier. It really is, in my opinion, one of the best sites, if not the best site for Dissidia content, and always give it a check. With that out of the way, let's go. So let's go through Prishe's crystal strength passive list. So Prishe uses green crystals, and let's go through the list and see what she gets. So her first ability at crystal 5 is 1 Ilm Punch Charge, which increases the max usage of 1 Ilm Punch by 1. So getting a charge right off the bat is very good. Like, very, very good. Because we get one more use of 1 Ilm Punch, that means that we can go spin attack and then go into a Howling Fist from there without having to worry too much about ability usage, because the charge will remain for 1 Ilm Punch regardless. So that's quite good. Next up, we get Break Speed Up. Break Speed Up slightly raises her speed for 1 turn after breaking an enemy. That is another great passive, because the whole gimmick around Prishe is that we want to be breaking enemies as much as possible, and we get that done. Then Break Speed Up means that our turn will come quicker, and we can go in for that HP attack. Next up is High Tension. High Tension slightly raises attack power for 3 turns when the battle starts. I'm indifferent in these kind of abilities because I don't think Prishe needs it. I really don't. The elemental abilities will hitting weakness will mean that you'll be doing lots of damage anyway. So while this is a little nice, but I don't think this is necessary at all. It's one of those things where if you have CP left over, then equip it. But if you're tight for CP, it's one that you can skip and be fine. Next up, we get Spinning Attack Charge at 25. Great. Again, right off the bat, another charge. So it doesn't take long for us to get to charges, unlike a lot of characters who can take up to like 40 before they get charges. Prishe gets her charges out the way nice and early, which is fantastic. And then, once again, same reason applies for one punch charge. We can use the skill chain version without having to worry too much about usage, and one more usage is really good for that. So definitely equip. Next up is Brave Guard Up, which slightly raises defense power when Brave is over 50%. This one is okay, I guess. If you're really going for how Prishe operates, this one is decent, but it's not amazing or necessary, to be honest. Because you'll see the next ability why. If we get our attacks in and HP attack, we won't really get the full benefit of Brave Guard Up. So it's actually not all that useful. Next up, we get Ability Speed High, which slightly reduces the action delay when using abilities continuously. A very good one, because if we're using our skill chains, we want to be able to get that HP attack in before the enemy hits us or before it's hitting somebody else. Ability Speed High is a very nice passive to have for Prishe. I would say it's one of the things you really need to have equipped to get the best out of her. And having that action delay means we can just get in our attacks a lot easier. And then once we HP attack, we have Shiva to give us a bit of speed afterwards, which means that we can keep the cycle going and being able to damage a lot with Prishe. Next up is Brave Attack Up. Slightly raises attack power when Brave is over 50%. This one is a bit... It's another iffy one, because if we're hitting the elemental weaknesses, our Brave will cap quite easily. But at the same time, if we do a lot of damage with one punch or spinning blow, or spin attack, then our Brave is going to be quite high. So if we still need to attack after that, then that's fine. Brave Attack Up will give us a little bit of a boost, but I think it's too situational for my liking, and I don't think it's all that necessary in my opinion. Next up is Break Bonus Up, which slightly raises the break bonus earned after breaking an enemy. So Prishe, she likes this kind of passive because you'll be breaking a lot with Prishe, and if you're doing that, you'll be getting lots of break bonus. So it's a really easy condition to hit and a really good passive to have. So it's one of the other ones which you really should have equipped as well. Prishe really benefits from break bonus up because that's kind of her job, is to be breaking. So it just makes her job and the rewards of using her that much better. Now, finally, we get to Combo Blitzer. So Combo Blitzer raises Brave damage when using the abilities continuously. So this one is kind of why I don't think Brave Attack Up is all that necessary. If we're using Combo Blitzer, the damage is very noticeable with this passive, and you'll be able to hit high damage levels quite easily. And that makes life a lot easier CP wise, because you don't need to worry about Brave Attack Up. But the one thing Brave Attack Up has on Combo Blitzer is that Brave Attack is only 10, whereas Combo Blitzer is 20. But it's one of the better CP 20 abilities because it really makes a difference for Prishe. Now, your skill chains become a lot stronger with this, and the best way to get the most usage out of this is to have someone like Cloud of Cecil who launches, because then when you launch them into the air, you HP attack with Prishe, and then keep your ability usage going with your abilities. So that means that you can get the very most out of this, and you have to deal lots of damage quite easily, and also, combo off, no pun intended, combo off launches very well. So this one is what I prefer to have, because my playstyle, I like to use launches. So this is a good one to have, and I recommend it. I wouldn't say it's essential though, like some of our other abilities, but it's a really good thing to have. Now, that's pretty much it for Prishe's list. Her passive list is actually quite good. I really like it. I really do like her passive list, and I think that they did a good job with her passive wise. Now, next up, we will be going on to the banner of the event. So let's talk the banner for this event. Global is a game that constantly keeps me on my toes, so I have no idea what to expect and what's coming. Now, is this a better banner than Tidus? Yes. But Prishe really should have a CP35. And I'm not saying this because I'm a fanboy, but I am really. I can't make a good argument. I actually can't make a good argument. But I really want Prishe's CP35 on this banner because I love her CP35. I think her CP35 is amazing. And I want it so badly. And I hope it comes early. But my logic when it comes to banners is that if I don't get what I'm shooting for, is the rest any good? Now, I already own Judgments and Virus, but I'm convinced of this. I don't know why, but I'm convinced that King will be an amazing character once he gets his level break. And I want to invest in him early in Global to make sure that I'm ready for him when he does get his level break. He hasn't got it in JP yet, but with the speed that Global's going, I wouldn't be surprised to see level breaks coming quite early. And because of that, I kind of want to invest in certain characters already. Now, I'm going to be doing one pull. If her CB35 is on this banner, I'm going to be doing maybe 2 or 3. I really am, because I think her CB35 is a great relic. And we'll be going why in our review. So I'll be adding her CB35 as part of the review, just in case. Just in case. But if not, then that's a shame. That's a shame that Tears gets special privileges, and Vincent too. But let's go through this review, and then hopefully get better understanding why. So let's go over what I deem to be the bronze of this banner, and that goes to King's Judgments. So while I did say I'm trying to invest in King early, for now he's an okay character. He's not great, he's okay. So what this does is it increases the potency rapid bullets and gives King a small attack up buff for 1 turn. So what's good about this is that the attack up buff is good, makes King less reliant on rapid bullets, which means you can use your brave attack if need be, and saves you from having to use your abilities all the time. However, that's about it when it comes to the good stuff of it. Unfortunately, the attack boost is too small and doesn't last very long. 1 turn is not enough. There are many good characters now who can do attack burn buffs quite easily, so that kind of overtakes and downplays the goodness of Judgments. So unfortunately, it's a poor relic. It's not the best. So Prishe's Cohening's Knuckle gets the silver for this banner. And I usually do try to give the event character a bit more, but unfortunately it kind of falls short. So what this does, it increases the potency of 1 Ilm Punch and Howling Fist. So it already turns an already strong character into a powerhouse. So Prishe will become really strong with these over this bonus, so that's one thing to note, especially the affinity bonus as well. So she becomes really powerful as equipped, and you won't have too many issues with breaking. But there's not really much to this other than that. So unfortunately, it kind of falls short. And you know how I do kind of wail on relics for not doing enough. This doesn't do enough, unfortunately. And it doesn't do much for spin attack and backhand blow, which are attacks you kind of need to use with Prishe as well. So on that one, it kind of does fall short. Whilst it does get a bit of a boost from having the affinity bonus, it's just not enough, unfortunately. So Prishe is already going to be quite strong because hitting elemental weakness does a really good damage boost anyway. So you can live without this. And unfortunately, because of that, I'm afraid Prishe only gets the silver. And gold goes to the Virus. So Virus still is a great relic, and increases Stone's potency, and also inflicts more defense down for 1 turn. So making Stone stronger makes it easier to break with. The break delay stacks the Stone delay, so that can cause enemy to not have a turn for quite some while. So that's good. Also, the defense down is fantastic with speedy characters, like King, for example. and Prishe, because they can get their turns in, attack with that defense down, and maximize the damage outputs. The only con I can come up with for Virus is that defense down only lasts for 1 turn, and that is not very long. That is, like, unit does longer, so that's one thing to do note, but he doesn't have delay, so that's one thing as well. But if it lasted just a bit longer, like 3 turns, then it would be really good. You know, it'd be really good. But 1 turn, it's not great. But that's the only thing I can come up with, like, a really negative aspect to Virus. Other than that, still great relic. Makes Benekari even better because affinity bonus means higher max brave. But overall, it's a good relic, and in my opinion, the best on this banner. So, just in case it comes on this banner, let's go through. And I despise having to say this because I don't know how to say it. But Prishe's Sfarahai. Like, they couldn't use anything else. They could not have used anything else, like Kai's Knuckles or something. That would have been nice. But Sfarahai, what it does is increases the potency of spin attack and backhand blow. Nice. Also, increases spin attack's damage if there's only 1 target. Even better, because that means that, you know, it's not reduced by that all that much, and it's still a strong attack to use. Additionally, it gives a buff of small attack and max brave up for 5 turns after using spin attack, which is really good. Then it also turns brave attack into brave attack plus and HP attack into HP attack plus for 5 turns after using spin attack. So overall, this is a fantastic exclusive and one of my favorite exclusives ever. Like, I love this one so much. So it turns Prishe into a real monster with this. Brave Attack Plus, what happens is it has low action delay, which means that you can potentially get your attacks in and get in before the boss moves. Also, HP Attack Plus means that you gain a small amount of Brave and then HP Attack. So what makes this really good is that you can just use your first attack, spin attack, HP attack, and even if you're not quite there to your max, the plus will give you that extra brave. Then you use your extension, and then you HP attack after that, and you deal so much more damage, especially with the higher max brave, because it is a CP35 weapon, and the higher affinity bonus, which means that Prishe just becomes crazy good, and she becomes a really powerful character with this, and you can focus more on spin attack and backhand blow, and because of how powerful this is, you don't really need the passive from Conan Knuckles all that much. Like, when I drew this, on my JP account that is, I didn't really need Conan Knuckles all that much. I ended up mastering it eventually anyway, but because of the buffs that you get from using this, you don't really need it all that much. You can live without it, and it just makes Prishe so good, and you don't really need the CP15 all that much. There's some characters who are really good with both 15 and 35, but Prishe, her 35 is good enough, so I can't speak highly enough of this. I mean, there is some personal bias in this as well, so that's one thing to do note, but from my experience and having used this on my JP account, this is a really good rank to have. The only con I can come up with is that turn usage will still be high with Prishe, but it helps reduce the amount of turns you will be using because of how powerful it does make her. So that's one thing to note. So it does cover off one of Prishe's cons because of how powerful she does become, being able to hit harder and have higher brave values. You don't need to worry too much about your turn usage as you do without it. And at this point in the game, her con doesn't really matter all that much. If it just comes on the banner, if this earns the prestige of being the very first platinum, you heard it, everyone. This is the platinum on the banner. If it does come, that is. If not, Virus is top dog. But if Sfarahai is on this banner. Platinum goes to you. Then, guys, we'll conclude with the boss of the event. So let's talk the boss of this event. And it is none other than the Stone Chimera! So he might be called Chimera Golem in Global. So, this is an interesting boss, as he's more or less the version 2.0 of the Chimera we face in Ifrit's trial. So let's see what differences V2 has. So, let's go over what is the same. The same is that Lion's all about the powerful physical single target attacks. Goat is all about those pesky attacks, those like magical attacks and stuff like that. And Dragon is all about his AoE attacks. Other than some graphical changes, their attacks are pretty much the same. So I'm not going to go into it too hard because you guys should already have a kind of understanding of how this guy fights because of how many times we had to do that darn trial. But gimmick is also there as well. It will change heads after attacks, and also has certain buffs after meeting certain HP thresholds. But let's go over what's different about this guy. So what's different about this Chimera now that it's stoned? Sorry, I just realized the pun of that, and that wasn't intended. His head has a different weakness. So when it is at greatest of all time, it's weak to fire. And one thing also to note about this guy, his head doesn't change after every attack. It changes after every 2 attacks. So that's a pretty big difference, right? See, now it changes. So now that it's an lion's head, its weakness now becomes wind. So this boss is all about catering to Prishe, right, man? So see, attacks are still the same. Okay. Next head. And then, when it's at the dragon head, it's weak to holy. But that's about it for that change. So let's talk about the buffs that this Chimera uses as opposed to the normal Chimera. So this guy, his buffs are framed and permanent. They can't be stolen, they can't be dispelled. So they will stay for the whole battle. His very first buff is called Quick Shift, at least that's what it's called in JP. And what happens is that his heads will change after every 1 attack. So he has to buff himself up to be as good as his normal version. He got too high, that's why. He got stoned and got too high. So I'm going to try and force him to use his buff now. Okay. Ooh, nice. I wish I could, but I can't. Oh. Make life longer. Okay, so now we're going to see. Switch his head after that. Straight up. Okay. So now we're going to try and move on to the second buff, which we're going to try and force out of him now. So this buff is a speed up buff. It's a permanent speed up buff and it makes him faster after he uses it. But I don't know if this is going to translate into global, but there's a long action delay when he uses his buff. So as you guys can see, his turn shot up. So it'll be a while before he acts after this. But as you guys can see, thanks to Shiva, I'm getting the turns in. But without Shiva, he will be moving like every 2 characters. So see, same attack. Now, I deliberately shifted him to this for a specific reason, and this is one thing to note about this guy. Now, you remember how his AoE attack changes, right? We're going to see this one be a lot more deadly. So as you guys can see, HP attack. It becomes an AoE HP attack when he uses that, so be very careful. Be very, very careful. Also, the goat's ramming attack inflicts defense down for 5 turns. Let's see if I can force him into his final buff. Okay, so his final buff is a defense up buff. So that makes him a lot more defensive. And there's still a little bit of a turn delay, but not as big because he's got the speed up buff. So this guy's buffs, his defense and speed buffs, are like really strong. They're not like the level 1 stage that we get for some characters. These ones are really strong and make a big difference. So when we get this to the point where he's using speed up, we need to retake care of him, otherwise this boss fight can become quite scary and quite difficult, especially with the dragon being able to do AoE HP damage as well. And it's kind of hard to dodge that because he hits so many characters at once and then he uses a HP attack afterwards, which means he accumulates brave quite easily. So one thing to do note, he doesn't get a attack up buff, but it kind of feels like there's a hidden passive behind this guy where his attacks do more damage the more buffs he has. And I think it's kind of like a secret coded thing into the boss design. So you don't want to be spending too long when he has 3 buffs up, because he will rip through you like no one's business. So try and take care of this guy as quick as you can. Try and use your summon before he uses defense up buff. The threshold for his buff, I believe, is 75% for the first, 50 for the second, and 25 for the third. So when you see him on lowish health, it's kind of the time to go for the summon, because then you can go into him quite easily and not have to worry about his defense up buffs. So I recommend using summon when using Goat, or the greatest of all time. I love saying that. And when he's at that point, because he'll be weak to fire then, if you're using Ifrit, you should be able to rip through him quite easily then. But that's about it for the Stone Chimera. This is how he's different from the usual version, and hopefully this video can be a bit of help to you. That'll be it for the breakdown of the Prishe event. Hopefully this knowledge can be helpful to you in getting so prepared for it. And yeah, this one's a good one. It's a fun one. But there's one thing to do note as well. In JP, at this point in time, we got a level 70 battle. And that was facing the boss straight up, without having to go through the rounds of foreplay. And that version is even stronger than the level 50 version, which is what I'm using now to trial this, to do this video. So hopefully Global gets that as well, because some nice single player content would be nice. And a word of warning, it can be quite tough. I couldn't complete it in my JP account, but I was a scrub when I first started this game in JP, so I think Global has made us all much better prepared for this, and I don't think we'll have too much difficulty with it. But yeah, there's just a little warning before that. And then that's about it, guys. So hopefully this breakdown has been good to you. Hopefully it's helped you get ready for the event. I thank you guys for watching as always, and the support, especially when I was going through that really busy March. Like, the comments and everything from you guys was really nice and really warmed my heart up. So I appreciate you guys so much. Like, I'm just a YouTuber, just a normal guy, and yet to get that much support from people who don't know me personally is very nice. It's really, 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 really nice. And once again, guys, I thank you all very much for that. Anyway, for those who don't want to get spoiled, end the video now. But other than that, next up we will be going through Prishe in how she is presently in JP as of this video. So, see you guys in a bit if you want to keep on watching. So, Prishe is one of the early characters to get a level break, and she can go to level 60. So we're going to go through the passive that she does get when she gets her level break to Crystal Strength 60. So at 54, she gets Buff Boost, which moderately raises Max Brave while buffed. Now this goes hand in hand with her exclusive, and it makes her Brave skyrocket. Like my Prishe, her Brave practically doubles because of the combination of both Buff Boost and Sphara bonus as well. So when he's using spin attack, that is. So it is a really, really good thing to have, because it means you can deal a lot more damage. You don't have to worry too much about hitting caps on your Braves all that much. Next up, we get the 1 Ilm Punch Extend, which is at Crystal 55. It gives us one more use of 1 Ilm Punch. Yes! Makes it stronger. And then makes Howling Fist Transfixion and Howling Fist Fusion stronger as well. And then what happens is, after you use the ability changes of Howling Fist or Backhand Blow, you fill up immediately with a HP attack, and that just really solves one of Prishe's weaknesses and means that you can DPS a hell of a lot faster because of this. The HP attack extension is really good to have, and it just is so good because the damage increase that you do get from this passive is really noticeable. Like my Prishe can hit all 9s. That's how powerful it does become. So that's one thing to really know about how crazy powerful that Prishe will become with this. And that hitting all 9 is because of hit weakness as well. Don't put that disclaimer in. But yeah, it is crazy, crazy good and turns Prishe into a really powerful character. One thing to do note is that this is only for 1 Ilm Punch and the ability extensions afterwards. So if you use Spin Attack and then use Howling Fist afterwards, you don't get the HP attack afterwards. So that's one thing to do note. Next up, we get Buff Attack Up, which moderately raises attack power when buffed. Again, very easy to achieve, even if you don't have anything for Prishe, because the Howling Fist extension from 1 Ilm Punch gives Prishe a buff of crit up for 2 turns, which means that we can get Buff Attack Up with stacks of the crit up, so that means higher chance of a crit whilst doing more damage anyway, makes us crazy powerful, and that stacks with Buff Boost as well. So another great passive, and really what Prishe needs as well. And if you have her exclusive or CP35, then just makes her really, really good, and it's easy to achieve. Really, really easy to achieve. Then we go to Spinning Attack Extend. So that you get at Crystal Strength 60. And then one more use of Spinning Attack. Great. Makes it stronger. And it also makes Backhand Blow stronger as well. Then after using this, after using the extensions of Howling Fist or Backhand Blow, you can use a HP attack immediately afterwards. So I'm going to blow the same drum that I did for blow drum. Who blows drums? I'm going to blow my trumpet, I meant to say. The same thing about 1 Ilm Punch Extended as well. Just solves Prishe's problem so much easier, being able to do the HP attack after extensions. So when you do have all those in play, like the extensions from her Crystal Strength 60 abilities and her CP35, what you really want to do is you use your first attack, you HP attack plus, then use your extension, and then you HP attack straight after that. And that cuts down the turns you need to use, whilst also doing a lot of damage in a short space of time. And that is kind of why, at that point that Prishe got her level 60, she shot up to be one of the best characters in the game. Her wide range of elemental abilities, whilst being able to make herself a lot stronger, especially with her CP35 stacking with her passives, just turned her into even more than a powerhouse, like a monster house or power monster. But yeah, just turns her into a crazy DPSing beast out of this world. And yeah, she comes really good because of this. So because we've already gone through Sphera High in our preview of the banner, we'll just show some gameplay of Prishe as well. So guys, time to show off how Prishe is using the boss of the event. So one thing to note, she got synergy here, so she will look a lot better. But it's pretty much just a guideline of how she is, kind of visibility more than anything. So here we go. One thing to do now, I've got Stella and King leveled up as well. We get to see Stella's exclusive, which is not all that great, but it's still pretty decent. So as you can see, so I use spinning attack. Just look at my Brave. My Brave is so high, it's at 18,000. So then I HP attack here, bam, look at that. Some great damage. Now, do you guys remember how I said in the banner review that King is a character I'm investing in? I don't know, I hope. I would wish that he got his buff here in the event. But later on down the line, King gets a buff that after using reload, he gets a new buff called Trigger Happy, which is unique to him. It's a framed one for 6 turns. And what it does, and this is why I really want to invest in King, is that it turns rapid bullets into a Brave HP attack. So instead of doing 2 hits, you do 1 Brave, 1 HP attack. So as you guys can see here, oh damn it, I used HP attack. I was such a noob, such a noob. Anyway, I'll show it in the next bit. But as you guys could see with Prishe as well, look at that, Brave attack plus, HP attack plus, and then the plus versions of both extensions. So we're gonna show. Yep, bam, look at that, 8k, boom. See, this is why she DPSs so well. So yeah, so back to King, even though this is about Prishe. So this is what I'm praying to RNG and the devs and whoever, come on Square, give us this buff now, please. I was hoping King would have gotten this when the game first started, but no. But yeah, so watch, bow. So, and that is kind of why I think King is going to be a good character if he gets his level break and you do it right. Because imagine being able to do more damage than this whilst having the short delay as well. So I'm hoping he gets it in this event. He probably won't, but I wish he does. Now, again, this guy, he is right now, he's weak to wind, isn't he? Okay. So you guys can see, very easy to hit the cap. Very, very easy to hit the cap. And it's straight Brave Attack Plus. As you guys can see, Prishe's turn just shot right up. And then finish it off, it's over. But that's pretty much it, really. That's how Prishe and Twisted King are in the future. And yeah, that really marks the end of this breakdown. I thank you guys for your patience, and I really am grateful of all the support and whatnot that you guys have shown me, and all the lovely comments and whatnot. It's all very nice of you. It's very much appreciated, and I love it so much. It just makes YouTube that much more fun for me. But that's about it for me now. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Once again, I hope it's been helpful to you, and I will see you for the next video. Until then, take care. Subscribe if you haven't, and show a little love to that thumbs up. Make it nice and blue.